just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a chat with the great Alexander Volkanovski, brought to you by Sportsbet. Thanks to Sportsbet for bringing us down, getting the boys together, and talk about getting the boys together. Mate, do you remember? I mean, I know you're a big star now, bros, and I know you would remember.
Man,
I know you would remember.
I know where you're going. Is you serious? The bloke in the bar days, of course, mate.
Welcome to another episode of The Locker Room. We are here with the number one pound-for-pound featherweight and lightweight in Asia, New Zealand, and Australia, Alex Volkanovski.
Hey guys, how we going?
Boom! Did I get it right?
Yeah, you got it right.
Woo! That's one win for me. One win for me.
I've only been doing MMA for 5 years. Probably just over 5 years. Actual MMA. I wrestled when I was younger. I was Australian champion wrestler.
Oh, okay.
Wrestler, won twice from what I remember.
We got to cheers to it. We got to cheers to it.
Remember, there's times where I wasn't even because I've been in camp doing some of our segments back in the day.
Cheers.
I would drink some water instead of beer.
Yep.
I'm not in camp right now, so I can drink some beer.
Mate.
Well, that's nice, bro.
I tell you what, who would have thought, bro? We were sitting in our lounge room, both of us. I think I was still working a full-time job trying to make the podcast work. And then you obviously go on to be number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Now, I don't know which one's better, being a podcaster or a pound-for-pound fighter in the world. We'll have to... What do you reckon?
Mate. Like, it's at the end of the day, I ain't doing this forever. It's all about being successful in that. And you look like you're doing all right, mate. So
yeah, well,
that's good. That's my goals right now. Make as much money as I can, be successful, and roll that successfulness, whatever you want to call it, on.
Mate, so how's it been? Obviously, you had the incredible fight against Islam Makhachev, and I guess, because outside looking in at your journey and we see, the heights that you've reached, when you're in it, sometimes it's a bit hard to appreciate the level that you've gone to. But I guess what's the last, 3 to 4 months been like for you?
So since after the
lead up
and that, man, it's been incredible. It's weird. So the whole pound for pound thing, right?
Yeah.
So like being champ was obviously good, and then you had that, the whole Max Holloway sort of thing and all that. But it was always good. Being champ was definitely a whole nother level when it comes to being a UFC fighter and then being a champ. But that pound for pound number one, once I got there, and it definitely, I know everything just felt like it turned up a whole nother level again. You know what I mean? So, and then that fight itself, the build up to that fight, and with Islam, the last few months have definitely been pretty full on.
And I mean, the fight, as you said, you've gone into title fights before. You've defended your belt four times.
4 times, yeah.
4 times. So you've gone into title fights before, but now you're going into, potentially making history in the double champ era. Is there any different pressure leading into such a huge... And also, there was arguments, and I believe it was one of the most highly skilled fights we'd ever seen in the history of UFC. Was there extra pressure, or was it, not business as usual, but this is a title fight, I'm here to get the job done?
For me, it was just another job that needed to be done, right? Obviously, there was a lot of people looking at how much of a risk it was, and me, the challenge, and what am I doing? Thought I was crazy doing it and all that. So you'd think that there would have been a lot of pressure, maybe, or was I getting nervous about fighting this invincible man that everyone was thinking he was going to be? But it was never like that for me. It was just another job. Again, I had the confidence in our preparation. We believed. In things that we thought, people thought differently, but that's fine. Like we do that. That happens all the time. I've been the underdog before. I've been counted out plenty of times my whole life. So it's nothing new to me. So I never let it get to me, and it didn't get to me for this one. I believed in myself, and I knew that I just need to turn up, make sure I prepare properly, and we can definitely make this a fight. Did I know it was going to be hard? Did I know it wouldn't be easy? 100%. We knew that. But I knew that if there's a guy that can, show you that, this Dagestani sort of wrestling, what everyone was raving on is invincible and can't be beaten. I was like, I'm the man for the job.
Absolutely.
Just let me show you. You know what I mean? So it was all right for me. It wasn't really much pressure on me for that. You know what I mean? Even though I was fighting at home, massive crowd in front of family and friends, I guess I'm built different when it comes to that, and I really do believe that a lot of people will be nervous, will feel that pressure. For me, it It was just me doing what I've been doing for the last few years. Really, that's how it was for me. I actually was looking forward to going out in front of the crowd and using that energy, like, because I'm at a point in my career where I look for things to hype me up, bring that fire in the belly, whether it's people booing me or them saying something, whatever it is. This time it was, I can use the crowd to really fire myself up and not even be emotional. Go in there a little emotional. And when I say emotional, fired up. Like I want to be pumped up, because I'm at a point in my career where I can stay composed and I can, I'll never let it be too much. I can get myself, use that as fuel and as energy, and that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, speaking of, first of all respect to the Dagestani reputation they have, but I don't think they knew about the Aussie battler.
That's it, footy Volk, mate. The footy.
It's the Aussie battler, baby.
Well, that's it, man. Like, look, obviously you just got to have that, never die attitude, never give up type attitude. And, you need to have that sort of attitude and that mentality and mindset in the gym every day to even be able to deal with that type of stuff, right? Like, because if you just want to turn up one day and tell you, I'm not going to care, it's going to be hard when when you're not that guy.
Yeah.
But if you're that guy turns up in the gym every day. That guy, every time he's in a shit position. Sorry, excuse me. Am I allowed to say that? Okay. Whenever you're in a bad position, that guy is ready to deal with it and move on and get through it. And you do that time and time again every day. It's going to make you, pretty hard to deal with. It's going to make you tough and be prepared for everything. So that is the guy I am and always been. And I put that guy, to the test every day in the gym. And it only makes me stronger.
Now, speaking of underdogs, hopefully he's not in this room because he might be scared. Or she. Who put the odds at Volk's $4 to win at Sportsbet?
Mate, you know what? Because, we just had a chat to a few of the guys here. I've been trying to keep an eye and find out who's the guy. Who's the guy? Show me some respect, you know what I mean?
$4. How dare they? No.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, some people would have...
But I mean, look... That's how it was. Like I was paying, I was the underdog. It was clear.
Yeah.
And it was still fair. It's still fair for me to be the underdog. Here, I'm going to say, I know that shouldn't be paying that. But I mean, who cares what I think, right? I'm going to have a bias. But not just that, I'm not going to have a bias. I know who turns up in the gym. I know what I'm capable of. So I knew that wasn't the case, but everyone else did. And everyone. Like I've got, at the end of the day, I lost, right? I didn't get my hand raised as close as it was. And, we thought we got it done. I didn't. But because it was so close, I had people friends of mine and even family in that, even though I lost, right? Or even though because it was very close, you could see that, it was like it was okay. Like, oh man, your stock still rose, and almost like even in their head, they must have been thinking, "Oh, I don't know about this fight." Why would they say that to me? That you should be proud of yourself.
That's a good point.
So they're like, you should be proud of yourself because that's how much of a risk it was.
Yeah.
And it was, and I know it was. Like it was a tough fight. Like I guarantee you, my coaches and that probably were thinking the same thing. Like this ain't gonna be easy. But that's fair. But again, I love that. And I love putting myself in that position. It made me better, and it's going to make me a better fighter, a better human being. And moving on, a lot stronger. So, it just shows you that, for me, they're like, oh, you should still be happy with that performance because, man, you did very well. I go, yeah, you might be happy because you weren't expecting me to do that. I was expecting to go out there and win.
Yeah, okay.
And I didn't get my hand raised. So that stings.
Yeah, wow. That's that's why you are where you are. I want to talk about technical, and look, obviously I don't know that much about boxing. I do a little bit of it, and obviously I watch a lot of MMA. And I know you're most likely going to rematch him, as I personally think that you'll beat Yair and then hopefully the rematch gets done. So you probably can't talk too technically in regards to certain things you were seeing, but first, what I noticed first when you came out was a lot of fake uppercuts. Was that to try to dissuade him from shooting, just to let him know if you come in, there's a chance you get hit?
Just, it's not giving too much away. Like, obviously, you threatening knees and uppercuts and, you threatening things from that angle. It's going to be hard to shoot into that. You're going to think twice, or you're going to try and find a different path. You're going to not want to go. That's not going to be a direct path to a takedown if you feel like there's a threat there. So it's pretty simple, as that almost, why you're going to fake that. But so look, I can give a bit away. Technique, I obviously, there's a reason why I was doing that, right? So obviously I was trying to make sure that there wasn't a takedown there. You know, I said I was going to fight my fight. I still felt like I did a good enough job in not worrying too much about the takedown, but there still was, like, I wouldn't say hesitations, but there was still things that I was doing, obviously still aware of that takedown. And now that I'm comfortable with that, like, I don't care if he takes me down. We can see that I can deal with that.
Yeah.
It's only going to make him more tired and things like that. Now I feel like I could have approached it totally different. But it took me too long to figure that out. Especially even in the last round, you see me start to, fight even a little bit different. I won't give too much away, but I end up fighting a little bit different. And I probably could have done that from the start. Would have tired him earlier. It would have, it would have just been a different fight. Because again, I'll go a bit into the technique here where he's very good at doing what he fights at a very good range. And he understands range like I do. I'm very good with range, but he's very patient. He's happy to just wait there and wait and let me do all the work and then find the right time to punch or shoot. And he does that very well. And that puts me in a tricky position because we've got thousands or millions of people watching to entertain. Do I sit there and just try and sit on the outside and then fight this fight and maybe lose anyway? Or do I force some things where I think I'm going to be fine anyway? I've got confidence to make it. So I'm going to have to make all the first moves. I'm going to have to be the lot more aggressive person. So it's going to be me either running into counters or throwing some punches at him type thing. But I knew he would be waiting for the shot and things like that. But he did that very well. But again, it was a type of fight where I'm like, I can't sit back and wait because I'm not going to tire him. It's not going to be entertaining. And again, I could still lose there. I rather put the pressure where, again, I'm always going to back my gas tank. Always.
I was going to say, do you think that you were surprised how much better your gas tank was and maybe in the future you'll put the pressure quicker so that the gas is quicker to a degree?
Yeah, well, now that like I guarantee he worked hard. He's going to try and tell, he's going to tell himself he's going to train harder. But like I said, I train like that every day in the gym. Every day in the gym, my whole career, it is full on. Even for fights that I don't think it's going to be in Islam. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even for fights I don't think would be that hard, I'm still putting in that work. People ask me, did you train harder? Or like as in, was the camp was longer for this one? Needed to prepare differently. Was it harder? No, it was like pretty similar to what we do. Because I'm always preparing like that. So I've been doing that for the last 10 years.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? So when we talk about being fit, and then it's not only being fit, this guy, he might train very hard, but still, how is he going to deal with being, because I'm still going to feel it. You're still going to be breathing heavy. Sure. The heart rate's up. It's still going to be uncomfortable, right? Like, people are, no matter how fit they are, they're still going to feel that and might not deal with it very well. Well, not as good as me. And I know I'll deal with it because I put myself in them positions time and time again, and I've been doing it for so long. So I felt like that's where it had. I guarantee he trained very hard. I guarantee you, if there was a way of seeing how fit we were, whether it comes to heart rates and all that, he's probably even. But I just bet you any money I just deal with dying in the ass better. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like I deal with that punishment. I deal with that pain a lot better. And I don't think he can fix that before the time we meet again. Yeah. If that makes sense. So I know I'm always going to back myself. So I've always backed myself there, but now I know that with him, I don't care. He can work on it, but I'm going to get him there. I guarantee you I'll get him there.
And going forward, are you just whoever the UFC kind of put in front of you, or do you have a target of like, this is what I want to do in the next kind of 6 months?
Well, it's pretty clear for us where you've got the rematch, or you got Rodriguez, who's interim. He just fought for the interim title. It's a big fight. It's a fight that everyone want to see. It built up my next fight in featherweight, having them on the same card. So it works out perfect. And I want to be active. Yeah. I said that I wanted to be active. In the lead up to that, I wanted to have 2 belts and defend both just to be active. I wasn't lying. Like, I will fight every 3 months if I have to.
You've been one of the most active fighters in the last...
Yeah, and I still plan plan on doing that. So that's why I probably could have waited for the rematch. You know what I mean? Like they might have even mentioned that to us.
Yeah, okay.
Like, do you want to wait or do you want to fight? They say, well, I don't want to wait.
Okay.
Waiting's not an option for me.
Okay.
So it's fight. You know what I mean? I want to fight. And obviously that'll be Yair Rodriguez. We just haven't got that over the line, but we'll make that happen.
Man, I cannot wait. Now, take us back to a young fella. Obviously, grew up in the Illawarra area. Gorillas. Local footy player. But what was, I guess, growing up, at what age did you actually get into MMA and why did you get into MMA? Because like a lot of young Aussie men, they get that energy out of themselves in rugby league. Mm-hmm. So how did you get, directed towards MMA?
Oh, well, man, I started when I was 22 years old. So I started pretty late, especially to start a whole new career.
Oh, my God.
Now, people might start something new, but, do they go to the top? Do they be pound for pound?
In the whole world?
It's pretty crazy, right? Like so a lot of people, which is pretty cool, right? It's pretty... It's motivating for some people and inspiring for people that are like, I'm thinking of doing this. And they tell me that they're 18-year-old or 16-year-old and then they're like, do you reckon it's too late to start? And I look at them and go, are you serious? Like, you know what I mean? Like you could start now and then almost, and by the time you fight, or by the time I started, that's as long as my career to date almost, you know what I mean? Like not really, but get close, right?
Yeah.
So it just shows you how inspiring that can be for some people. But I've always loved martial arts. It's always something I wanted to do. I didn't want to do it to let any steam out or anger out. It was nothing like that. It was, again, like you said, you could do that in football, but I've never been that type anyway. But it was something.
Any scraps on the footy field?
Oh, mate, I blew a lot. I'm not going to lie. There was a lot of biffs back in my day, but it's nothing I'm proud of. But yeah, that was more me just like, I was never an angry guy, to be honest. I did get involved. I was known for scrapping a little bit when I was younger.
But you weren't angry because you were dropping everyone.
I didn't take
beating everyone in a fight. That's where you weren't angry.
I didn't take much, I guess, back then. I guess it might have ran in the family. My brother's a bit of a hothead too. Well, he's more of a hothead than me, actually.
Oh, really?
I'm not a hothead. So like even when things are there, I'm like, I'll try and stop it unless it's funny when... I shouldn't say this, but my dad said when we were younger, we were really young, and this is, he's a bit more old school, and this was a while ago, and that's what he used to say, if you feel like something's going to happen, as if someone's going to hit you first.
Go first.
Yeah, he says that. So I'm not telling everyone to do that, right? Like that's not something we do. It's something you should do. No, like
walk away.
Avoid it. Yeah, walk away. But that's how it was, and so anyway, I'll leave it at that. But I always wanted to get into MMA because it was something that I've always loved doing, and I started doing it, and obviously it was something that I really enjoyed and thought that I could do well. And
do you remember? I'm not sure if you remember your first sparring, but again, as I said, I've done a little bit of boxing, and that first sparring session where the reality hits you of how much you don't know and how actual professional boxers or MMA fighters are. Did that have that same effect on you where you walked in and went, wow, like this is a whole language that I don't know? Or we almost naturally really enjoyed it and then kind of went to the challenge?
Yeah, I guess I was more in a natural way where, I guess what makes me who I am is I'm a bit of a problem solver. So put me in a situation and then I'm just thinking of what to do in that situation. I'm not sitting there going, oh man, I've never been here and I won't freak out. Like I'm not like that. I just deal with what's in front of me. Yeah. So being a bit of a problem solver. So I think that definitely helps even in situations like that. And there's a story that Joe always talks about, my coach Joe Lopez, who always talk about I don't know if it was a first sparring session, it was like one of my first sparring sessions. Like he had it was like an open day at the gym where they had a few other gyms in, and what would you call it? We had a seminar there. It was a seminar, an open day, and they had a heap of people from all other gyms there, and so we were there. And we decided to do some training afterwards with a couple of guys from other gyms. So there was bigger guys. Remember, I was a bit heavier then, but these guys were, I was, middleweight. I weighed that much, but I wasn't a middleweight.
You're middleweight, nah.
And then there was these guys that were literally light heavyweights. And they were literally light heavyweights.
Yeah, yep.
So it's a story that he likes to tell. So I went in there and I was like, oh yeah, I'll go spar. Obviously Joe was like, oh, Alex hasn't really sparred before.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll let these other big guys go in because all these other guys are monsters. He goes, oh, we'll let these other guys. So while he was getting his other fighter like, you know, gloved up and all that. They've just called me in. And I've just went, oh, okay, sweet, whatever. So I've just went in. So that shows you how I deal with these situations.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, whatever, okay, sweet.
Oh, man.
So I went in there, and then Joe comes in ready to tell him, like, what are you doing? Like, why have you got this guy's, like, never sparred before? But before he could even do that, I've, like, already started submitting this guy. And he's already had, like, he even had 6 fights already and things like that. So that's when Joe, he already seen that natural ability in the gym, but that was when he's like, all right, this guy can compete.
Yeah,
well.
wow.
There's being strong in the gym, and then there's competing in a situation like that.
Absolutely.
Especially an uncomfortable position. This kid shouldn't be handling himself like that in a situation like that. Never been there, you know, really not used to it anyway. Against an experienced guy that's twice the size of him, and yet then he comes in, he goes, all right, and you just sort of let it happen. I end up submitting the guy a couple of times. So it's a story he likes to tell. So he's probably dirt on me for telling his story.
No, it's incredible. it's incredible. And like, you know, and as I said, you know, I just do it because I enjoy boxing. Mm-hmm. But the first sparring session you have, you're usually gassed in about 2 minutes because you're so stressed out and you're tensing up constantly. You're, you know, stepping far, your range is terrible. But for you to go in there and be calm, it's almost like an instinctual thing that it's hard to teach that.
Well, okay. Would I say I'd be calm? Would I still be? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't think I would get nervous or, like, you know, crazy butterflies or anything like that. I don't know if the calmness is the right word, but I mean, even if I started feeling a little bit things, I would find a way to deal with it, type thing. You know what I mean? Like, I won't sit there and then let it crumble me.
Yeah, okay.
I'll be like that. I'll be like, oh no, what do I got to do? You know, like sort of. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You know?
No.
I don't want to deal with the butterflies right now.
Keeping focused in a stressful situation it's a gift almost. I mean, some of the best footy players that you know, like a Cam Smith, he doesn't look like he's ever stressed out, but I'm sure he is stressed out when he's playing footy in that. Okay, so
it's composure, right? You need to be able to, and that's something that I've always had, and that's something that I feel like definitely is something that helps me a lot in my career, and what, you know, you could say separates me from a lot of guys.
Yeah, incredible. Just incredible, mate. So fast forward, so you would have been about 27. You've been fighting in the local Australian, what was it called, PFL, did you say?
PXC.
PXC.
Yep.
And so this is kind of around the time we met where I think you would become the champion of the PXC. Is it PXC?
PXC,
Oh, my God.
Yep.
PXC. And you were desperate to get into the UFC. But you were also a bloke that had a baby on the way. Mm-hmm. You know, what was the decision to keep fighting for your dreams, even though financially, you know, you're struggling, or it's, you know, you're working and you're trying to find the balance between learning a whole new bunch of different languages, jiu-jitsu, grappling, striking, Muay Thai, you know, everything.
Yeah.
What first of all, what was that journey like, and what were the big moments that made you stick it out?
Yeah, man, it was definitely tough, especially when like I was concreting early in the career, and you know, playing rugby. My first year of MMA training and my first couple of fights, I was doing rugby league, playing rugby league, concreting, and fighting and having fights. So it was a busy year. Yeah. But then you know, I stopped. I didn't do the football anymore, rugby league, and then I was still concreting for the first couple of years. But then we chose to chase a dream. And, you know, which is a commitment, you know what I mean? So I end up, because I had a house, and then we thought, well, like, let's rent it out, you know, we'll live at my mother's house, and, like, you know, just, you know, put everything on hold, and, you know, do whatever we can to just get through, and so I can at least chase a dream. And so that was what we were doing for a while, and I ended up, telling myself, I told myself that, you know, I need to be, obviously, because even my wife, you know, she's sacrificing a lot as well. You know, we're living, even my mum, and like the last thing I want to be is a burden to anyone. Here I am being a burden to pretty much everyone, right? My mum, like, I'm living there, and even my, you know, she was my wife at the time. There. Just, I'm like a burden. You're making, you know, things a bit difficult. Like, so I needed their support. So luckily they were all very supportive. But it was tough. So I told myself, like, you know, I need to be in the UFC before my firstborn's, before that happens, before I have my firstborn. Yeah. So that was something that a promise I made to myself. So I was going through, and we were campaigning, and like, we had winning records, winning streaks. I had national titles. I had world titles. You know, knockouts, everything that the UFC wanted, and we're doing campaign after campaign. It just wasn't happening. It was tough. And then I ended up having Ariana, and which I made that promise, which stung me a lot. Like, that hurt me a lot, like knowing that, that was a promise for me. And, I like to keep my promises. I didn't let it, get to me too much, but it was a lot of pressure on me where now, I'm living at my mother's house and look, I've got my whole family in here, you know what I mean? And like, we're still struggling, obviously. So it's it was a crazy time, but like, stuck to it. We still believed in the process. My coaches did, and my wife did, my family did, and kept doing it. And again, it got tough. There was times where we might have even chatted about it because we have had chats before. But there was even we had management companies that UFC asked for me. They thought that was my management, so they asked them to sign me.
Yeah, sign you up.
But because I wasn't signed with them, they said, "Oh no, he's matched up for this fight. But we got you this guy." Actually, so they literally, yes. So like they took literally a UFC contract away from not only me, my family. You know what I mean? You got to remember, this is more than just giving me a fight in the UFC. This is my life.
Yeah.
That he's messing with. So that was massive, and it hurt a lot. And then that was a really, really tough time.
Yeah.
Really, really tough time.
And like, how did you deal with, I know you're a problem solver, but you would have been about 26 at this stage, 25, 26. And as a man, you don't ever want to be, as you said, a burden. You want to be able to provide. How did you deal with that pressure going to training every day? Did you keep telling yourself, this is the path forward, this is how I can get out of this situation?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a problem solver, but I mean, at the same time, that's the dream. That's the dream I was chasing. So that was something that I had to pursue. Then obviously, I'm going to be like, all right, is this the way?
Yeah,
do I need to give this up now?
Yeah.
Maybe I can't do this. You know what I mean? So they're the conversations you're having, because that's how you would solve that problem, right? So if you can't get in the UFC, we need to make money somewhere. So I can problem solve that problem. But that's not solving the problem of me and my dream being the UFC champion. So I just stuck to it. So that's where I needed a bit of resilience and get through that adversity and them tough times, and still have that belief, which was hard. But we knew we'd get there. And again, just keep pushing for it, and that's all I could do at the time. I wish I could say I did something spectacular to make it happen, but no, it was
hard work.
Hard work and trying to stick to it, and then being prepared just in case there was a late notice. So this whole time, these 2 years that I'm telling you, this isn't just me waiting for a contract and then I can go in the camp. I was expecting to get a late notice fight or whatever. So I was staying in shape all year round and keeping my weight down. So not cutting weight, but dieting all year round just in case that UFC contract came.
Wasn't your
so
first
it was a lot
in the weight division up?
Was that, sorry?
Wasn't your first fight?
It ended up being
in a weight division up?
Yeah, but I had to be prepared for featherweight just in case. And then they ended up giving me a contract for lightweight.
And because I remember us talking about it, and you was like, I just got to take it because this is my shot.
Yeah, which, like, give me a heavyweight fight. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Give me that contract. All right. Have that heavyweight matchup. I'm a problem solver. I'll figure something
out. So
John
Jones, Volkanovski, is that next?
Yeah, mate, pound for pound. See, I want to go for that number one pound for pound. John Jones,
okay, so I think there's, obviously there's heaps of big moments in your career. Being obviously a fan of your career, I think for me personally, it was obviously the Aldo fight where you really announced yourself as like, I am world class, and I am the man to beat Max Holloway. And this people forget, because you finished the trilogy in such a dominant fashion, people forget like Max was the boogeyman of UFC. So you defeat Aldo, heading into that first fight with Max, which was your first shot at the title. He was on a crazy win streak. What was I know you don't get nervous, but I guess this is your dream about to come reality. Everything, your whole life is leading to this point. What was the mindset? What happened in the build-up? How did it all come about?
Yeah, man, a lot of my mindset and mentalities are so most effective in everyday life, in the gym, preparing. You know what I mean? A lot of people, think they just need to turn up for fight camp and for the fights. It's so much more than that. I need to turn up every day in the gym. I need to learn. We need to evolve. We need to get better. And, I need to be there to do that. And then even in camp, we need to be there and maximize our opportunities by putting it all out there. So that's, and I've always got confidence because that's what I'm doing in preparation. So going in there, obviously, again, I'm confident of what we're doing. You know, I'm talking to my coaches. We've got a game plan. We see these things, and I'm confident that we're going to put it all into work. You know, saying it and doing it is two different things. But for me, I believe that it's what I need to do, so I'm going to have to try and do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I'll deal with it if it doesn't work later. You know what I mean? So that's sort of how I'm going there. So I'm confident. I believe in myself. If you see even media leading into that, I guarantee you I would have been saying like, things that I was going to do, and I would have done exactly what I was pretty much saying. A lot of people would probably, you know, they think I'm mad. It's like, oh yeah, I don't know about that. But until I go and do it. And then, you know, people forget that I was the underdog.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you said, like you forget that he was like, well, man, this guy's invincible. I was
Literally
a big underdog, and there was no chance of me winning, and we believed it. We went and did that.
And you're walking out to the title fight. Do you remember the walkout? Do you remember anything? You know, what's a little detail maybe that just stands out to you?
The biggest detail for that one, again, biggest fight of your life, right? This shows you like how I am.
Yeah.
In these situations, like we're probably laughing backstage and like having a laugh. Obviously, I get, you know, I'll take it serious. You know, there's a time where I, you know, right before I'm about to walk out, you know, I go there and remember what I'm fighting for. I even do a march. I do that every fight, like march around like the mats, and I'm like, you know, we're just going. There's no way, you know. There's no way I'm not taking this belt back to my family. I train too hard, you know what I mean? Like, you know, my you know, everyone's counting on me. My family's counting on. I'll have like this moment where I do that. But yeah, so I will have serious moments. But other than that, like I'm pretty chill. So I'm even, they're about to walk out. So I get out of there because they bring you like, all right, it's time. All right, cool. You know, we huddle up, do our thing. All right, let's go. So we go out and then we're waiting. So my song's about to go. So I'm like, you wait like we're in the hallway just before you go to the where you exit or we enter the arena. And then Bisping comes and he sees, and then like, yeah, remember, this is the biggest fight of my life.
Yeah.
He walks up and realises I'm about to walk, and he doesn't want to interfere. I mean, this is his moment. Like, I'll make sure I'm all right. I'm like, Bisping, you all right, man? Like, yeah, because I knew he wanted to go to the toilet or something. Like, yeah, go, you all right? And he's like, oh, okay. So he starts going, I go, and then I remember having a podcast with him, and I had pink headphones because I didn't have no AirPods or nothing. So I was like, man, this is all I could use, man. Like, literally, I had like these, my Ariana's little pink headphones. Yeah. So I was wearing them. I'm like, oh, no, how about the pink headphones? And this guy's like, are you serious? You're about to walk out and fight Max Holloway. Like, why are you sitting there having a laugh with me? So that's just, that's probably something that I remember. But obviously, that just sort of shows you, like, I guess, how I go about it. Like, well, not how I go about it, because obviously I take this very serious. But I take it very serious in the gym. But I don't let it be something that's going to, like, freak me out or anything like that. Again, I'm going to go and treat it how I treat everything else. You know, systematically, you know what I mean? There's something that we need to do. It's a job that needs to be done. And that's it, you know what I mean? And, you know, again, most of that, you know, that real hard sort of work or where it really counts is in the gym. You need to turn up, but I know I'll turn up, but I need to make sure that the right man turns up.
You're a better man than me. When I played footy, I used to get angry at my family if they messaged me on game day because I was that wigging out, like, oh, I need to be focused.
Well, everyone's different, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I was like, if I was too relaxed, I just didn't have the same energy for some reason. It was just weird. But it is, you're right, everyone just handled differently. It's actually interesting. I would love to, I'd love that be studied.
Yeah.
See, like, because you have guys that can fall asleep before a footy game or whatever, and then you've got guys that are buzzing hours before it. Okay, so the first Max Holloway fight. Sorry?
Before you go there, with what you're saying with that, like, it's something that I used to say to people, because you get people, for us with fighting, the closest thing you are going to get to fighting is sparring. You're pretty much fighting. It's not as hard, but I mean, you're pretty much fighting. Well, so when I see people, and I'm not having shots because a lot of people probably do this and it probably works for them.
Yeah.
But for me, how if you said you would like to study it, I look at it this way. It's like, that's the closest thing I'm going to get to fighting. And, you know, the headspace in the gym, you know, and that's where I do most of my work, and that's where I'm pretty effective in the gym. And, like, that's where I've done all my training preparing for this fight.
Yeah.
Why am I going to put my headspace or myself in a totally different headspace for the biggest moment of my life when I'm about to fight? You know what I mean? Like, why would I sit there and all of a sudden, I never do this.
Yeah.
Go sit in a corner, not talk to no one, listen to music, heavy metal, going like, I never do this. Listen to heavy music, all right, like just staunch around being angry and and this isn't a shot at you, but like I'm doing that, and then, you know, and expect to go out and fight and stay composed or do what I'm doing. I feel like your best chance of being able to perform is, the closest thing to fighting is going to be in the gym sparring. Yeah. So I want to be in that sort of headspace.
Replicate that.
Yeah, I want to replicate. Obviously, I need to know that I need to try and knock this guy out as well. I don't do that in my training partners, but at the same time, I want to go out there composed. Trust me, the adrenaline's going to go enough to make you want to hit hard. Yeah, that's going to happen. Yeah. You don't need to try and build yourself up. These guys are building themselves up is like you don't need to. Yeah, I'm at a point in my career where I can now. Like I need to build myself up. Yeah, okay. But it's never like that. You're going to get the energy from that crowd and all that type of stuff, especially for guys that. Yeah. Anyway, so I just felt like for me, that's what I think, and I felt like that was my little take on that, whether that even made sense.
No, absolutely. Replicating how you train is really important. Yeah, sure.
Again, I don't want to put myself in a position that I never am. Like the only time I'm ever in this spot is right now, right? Like I'm about to fight, so I'm going to put myself in this headspace that I'm never at. I just think that's a bit weird, a bit odd. Yeah, it might work out. You might do that every fight, so that's what you're used to now. So that's what you're going to start making sure you do. I just don't know if that would be my first option.
Yeah, no, it's 100% true. It's basically replicating conditions where you've put in the best work possible. Yep. It's 100% true. So the Max Holloway trilogy, what I loved about it is had everything, and also what I loved about it really rounded out like. It showed how much your game was rounded out across the trilogy, and I loved the fact that. You just grew so much as a fighter throughout the whole thing. And I know in the second fight, you had some issues before the fight and you were even sick, I think, heading into that fight. I know fighters don't like to talk about that kind of stuff. But the third fight, I know every fight you try to go into the same, but that was like if you had a classic song or a painting that was your... that for me personally, like that was your work of art. That was a beautiful performance. Heading into 3, after everything that had been spoken about, even though you're already 2-0 up and fairly 2-0 up, in my opinion, did that give you the fire though? Or the doubt turned up to 10 because you'd done so much already against Max?
It was a trigger. It needed to be done. So a lot of people thought that, why are you even doing this? You're 2-0. Like, why are you fighting him? Like, because again, they're looking at him as, still a lot of people were looking at him as the boogeyman 100%. Even then. Yeah. Especially after the second fight and he'd been a bit closer. Everyone was like, oh yeah, and then he had 2 crazy performances after. They still thought like, oh man, this guy's unstoppable. Yeah, he's even gotten better. Max Holloway's gotten better. So like I said, there was still a bit of hate and a few people still doing that. Like, so for my legacy, it needed to be done. I needed to just silence it. Yeah. And I knew that, I knew I'd be a lot better of a fighter than I was the second guy that turned up for that second fight. I knew that 100%. And then obviously I evolved and we do that. So I had full confidence in what will we do, our game plan and all that type of stuff. And you just seen it work. But where I got my energy from, to be honest, because you're saying like, did that pump you up? I had to, I told you just then, it's like sometimes there's fighters, like it's like you don't need to pump yourself up. And I told you now I sort of do. Yeah. It never used to be like that. Where now, because I've always used to try, like leading into fights, all right, calm down, stay composed, like so you can, so you can be in control. Where that second fight with Max, and then even a couple of other ones like that, I was like. Trying to level myself down, especially being Fight Island, no crowd or anything like that. I put myself way too, like it was like, I was like, okay, yeah, man, really? I was way too chill.
It went too chill.
It was weird because there's other things again, like, again, I don't want to make excuses, but like I was like, I don't want that feeling again. So I want to pump myself up, fire myself up, and then I end up like, fighting so much better that way. So I'm like, all right, that's what I'm going to have to do from now on. So leading up to that fight with Max, I was too chill. I was like, I don't know, I felt weird. I almost felt like vulnerable in a sense because I was like worried, is that same guy that turned up to number 2 going to turn up? Turn up to our second fight? Okay. Because I'm like way too chill now and, I'm like, I know it was weird for me. And then I was like, man, like, I've got to do something about this. So I've actually got a sports psych as well. So I was chatting to him and then, explained to him the situation and I'm like, nah, I told myself, there's no way. It's like I can't go into this like feeling vulnerable, like just remembering that crappy feeling that I had while I was in there. I can't let that be in my head. I go that's not happening. So I've told myself that I'm gonna I'm winning every exchange. Like I'm going out there and I'm gonna win every exchange. Like fuck this guy. Excuse my French. I'm like, nah, I ain't having it. I'm winning every exchange. I need to go in there with that mentality. That's what I told myself. I don't care if I don't win every exchange, but that's the mentality I needed to go in there with. So I remember doing that, and then so I was like, and then had that chat, and I'm like, oh yeah, nah, that's it. Let's go. And then we had that press conference, because before that was where it was. And then I was about to do the press conference. I'm like, all right, that's good. Let's go. I need to pump myself up. Then he starts going. Then he started getting into me. I'm like, all right, sweet. Like, yeah, this is giving me energy. This is all right, sweet. That's what I want. I'm getting booed and all that. And I was expecting the booze. And I'm like, all right, sweet. I'll use the booze. I'll use us, having a chat. Use that crowd, whether it's negative or positive, which I knew it was going to be booze. Yeah. Whatever it is, I'll use that. So he started doing that. Then he started going, and then I started feeling. I'm like, well, yeah, this is what I wanted. I needed this.
Yeah, okay.
And then, so I was like loving it, because he was down there, and I was chilling. I could see he was getting a little like.
Well, he never done that before.
He was getting a little emotional, and I was like thinking, all right, sweet, no worries.
Okay.
Oh, you're just doing me a favor here. And then
I think you even said that, like, to a degree in the press conference.
Yeah, I said, I go, thank you.
You're helping me here.
I'm loving it. Thank you. I need this. I want this. So I even said it to him, like, while we were doing the face-off there. Then we end up doing the weigh-in. And then I sort of forgot about all that a little bit.
Okay.
I was chill again.
Yeah, okay.
And I was backstage, and I was about to walk out. Me, Izzy, and Brad Riddell were backstage, and we're there. And then I remembered, I'm like, oh, man, I'm about to do a face-off. I've got to get on the mic.
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I doing? Wake up. You know what I mean? Like, I got to fire myself up. So then I told myself, I need to fire myself up. I go, I'm going to have to say something to Max. So I'm like, I might say something to, like, because he was chirping. So he started, you know what I mean? I'll be like going, all right, let's see if you still bring that, like, just to get him going. Because I wasn't doing it emotionally. I was doing this I needed this.
Yeah, okay.
So I was like trying to instigate it just for myself, really. And then, so I'm there, and I'm like, what do I say? So I'm there back, and we're about to walk out to the arena, like we're about the curtains were about to open, and then they had music playing because it was a title fight, so they amp up our fight, and they're going, and he's sitting there going, yeah, I'm going to bring the heat. And that's what he says in that, and I'm like going, all right, I go, yeah, you bring the heat, make sure you bring that heat, you know what I mean, like something like that. He goes, I am the heat, brother, and he's like, what? He's turning around. I'm going, yeah, that's it. We're just mouthing off at each other, and like we're getting into it.
Yep.
I'm going, mate, you use that crowd, because even in the press conference, I felt him trying to get the crowd to boo against me, because I've been a little vocal about saying that was affecting me. So he tried to use that against me.
Yep.
And I was at a state where you said I'd grown so much during that trilogy.
Yeah.
I didn't grow so much as a fighter. I grew so much as a person as well.
Yeah, okay.
Outside of the cage. So I grew mentally so much more, and dealing with this sort of stuff and the hate and all that much better. And I seen him doing that. I'm like, you weak. You're trying to do that and get him in. Luca, you're trying to use everything right now.
Yeah, okay.
So I was saying that to him in behind the curtains. I go, you use that crowd because you need him. You know you need him. I don't need him. You know you need him.
Yep.
And like I'm just saying stuff like that, and then bang, gave me the fight. And I'm like, yes, this is where we want to be. So we end up going there, and then I'm into him again, and just letting him go. He's going, mate, look, you tried everything. I go, your games don't work with me, mate. Yeah. You're just giving me the energy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, what? Anyway, so it was good. It worked in my favor. So it was a very calculated type of situation. Usually I wouldn't do that, but I needed it. You know what I mean? Like I found a way to be like, oh, mate, I need more energy. All right, I'm going to instigate something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like which is pretty out of character. Yeah. But I needed it for me to perform. And we performed.
Oh,
I remember going in there and telling myself, I was like, you need to win every exchange. Don't give him an inch.
Yep.
I don't care how good he is or how good people think he is. It doesn't matter. You're winning every exchange. So I went in there like thinking that. Like remember, I was in the octagon looking at him and like, I remember every exchange. Telling the guys, oh, yeah, sweet. I might have even mentioned it to them. And I'm just saying that, and then it was quite a performance.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you say, I went in there wanting to win every exchange, because like even the exchanges where he engaged and made it happen and you thought, oh, Max has got the bet, and then boom, you just turn it straight back to and it would be so deflating for him, because he's going, I can't get any momentum here. Every time I get momentum, it just gets shut down. Yeah. And Max, one of the toughest fighters on the roster, but you could see by the end of the fight, he was just like, what do I do?
Exactly right. And you're right, because it was like that. There was times where he would even do a good enough job where, like, obviously I was landing a lot, make me miss and then counter good, which should have worked. But I was just, 2-1. Then boom, make him miss. And then I would always finish with the big punches to finish that sort of exchange. Yeah. Which is credit to him, most people probably would have crumbled, and he just didn't care. Even though it wasn't working, he just kept trying.
Was it the overhand right, and then you pointed to him and he had
the cut? Yeah.
Oh my god!
So he ran again. He come in he was trying to get into come in a bit aggressive, and we were just baiting him and just running him straight into the big shots. And that was one where he just ran straight into it.
That was
he was. I looked up and straight away I felt it land. I come up and look at him and I swear I could see bone and everything. Like he was so big that I'm like, ooh, that's bad. Like you hear me actually say it. I say it a few times. I look at the ref, I go, that's bad. Get someone to look at that damn thing, you know what I mean? Because that ain't healthy.
Yeah.
And then supposedly they'd even got close to the artery and all that. Like, whether it nicked it or something, I don't know. But that's why there was so much blood.
Oh man!
Yeah, so he was squirting out. Like we were going there, and then like you could see at certain points it was like squirting out.
Oh my god!
But it was it was pretty crazy. But that's Max. He'll just keep coming forward, even though I was landing these big shots and things weren't going his way. You've got to give him respect for that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like.
As a great man would say, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So you close out that chapter, and what I love about your career is like a lot of fighters, normal fighters, not yourself, would close that chapter and almost go, you know what? I've done what I needed to do here. But it just seemed for you that it made you hungrier. So Ortega was after that, wasn't he?
No.
It was before the third one. So
it was Ortega. So I did the Max second fight, the rematch.
Korean Zombie.
No, I did Ortega.
Zombie. Max again. Take us to the Ortega fight, because truly, honestly, one of the greatest moments in MMA history, in my opinion.
Yeah, so that was against still like obviously I'm getting better and better every fight. You can see that. So like that was still where I feel like I really started developing my game that you're seeing now. Like it started like there. I feel like where I really started understanding the stuff that my coaches were teaching me, really understanding it and really putting it together and being confident in just being able to use them tools rather than throw them here and there, like really understanding it all.
Yeah.
So that was sort of where it started. And I told you that fight with Max, the second fight, I was like, felt like I was well underdone and like it was just weird. So that second one, a lot of energy. We were mouthing off to each other. There was a bit of bad blood, like we were into each other, and I love that. I went in there and I was just going for it. Yeah, I probably took a few punches. I got put in a couple, but I mean, I still thought that was pretty good. That's how I wanted to feel. Like we were moving on. I wanted to have that type of energy.
Okay.
So that was a crazy one. So why what I wanted to touch on that is because when I go into the Korean Zombie, because that performance was very good with the Korean Zombie. I will go back to Ortega in a second. It was a clinic, but I was still a little like flat.
Really?
So when I say flat as in fire-wise.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So luckily, stylistically, I was just on anyway.
Mate, you were literally going...
Yeah, I know.
Bro?
It was weird. So I was still like... I remember going in there. I'm like, oh, man, why do I feel like... I feel like way too chill.
Okay.
But I ended up working out in my favour. But I didn't want to feel that again. That's why in the third max, I made sure that wouldn't happen.
Okay.
Yep. So then I was like, well, why do I have so much energy with Ortega? Because I loved that. I love that. You know what I mean? I want that again. So then I realised after the zombies, like, all right, I'm going to make something happen.
Okay. Because that was after Tough, wasn't it? You did Tough?
I did Tough. So that's why there was a bit of bad blood with Ortega. So we did the Tough series and all that. And
what was the Tough series like?
It's all right. Like again, he's not that bad of a dude, but I mean, you spend enough time with someone competing with him.
Yeah.
Like whether it is our guys, everything's going to get on your nerves.
Something will happen.
He's going to get on your nerves.
Yeah.
His little comments and like, this guy, who does he think he is? It's like that. He's going to be thinking the same about me.
Yeah.
Same as with the trilogy of Max Holloway. Everyone loves Max Holloway. We begin to end up hating each other just because of what people are saying. Little comments they're saying.
Yeah.
It's weird. Now I feel like it's like all good, but I felt like towards the end I was like, I'm not, I didn't believe, things he was saying, like, bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's where you start, get going. You put yourself in that position, I guess.
Was there any real animosity in the Tough season or?
No, like, we're going to sort of play, we're even saying we're going to sort of play with it a little bit, but I mean, then some of the stuff would happen, then like, you'd get annoyed with certain things.
Like, there was stuff where I felt, he didn't understand Aussie taking the piss kind of humour. He didn't really get it.
Yeah, exactly right. So it's awkward.
I don't give a shit. Like, it's all good, but he would like kind of take it a little bit personal.
Mate, well, the worst part about that is like we wanted to do things, like we wanted to do some pranks and all that, and like we weren't allowed to do anything.
Oh, really?
I think because they knew, I guess, they knew that we're all good. You could do anything to us. We're going to laugh. You know, it's Aussies. You know what I mean? Like,
100%. It's part of it being.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, please, like, you know, like they got a little donkey to, you know, they got horses for everyone else in the team. They got a little donkey for me. You know, having shots at me, I'm laughing. I'm like, fuck, is that one for me? Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, cool. Then so we're trying to do stuff, but they wouldn't do it. So then, like, they end up just getting stuff themselves. Like, they end up getting, because I was always giving them shit about not being on time and all that. So they just end up bringing us heaps of clocks. Oh, like, we're going to put this in the room.
It's not even a good.
But I mean, anyway, I was like, whatever. At least it's pushing that narrative that he's always late and just to try and stir up their turn. But it was just like, what? Like, because we wanted to mess with his car and things like that. They wouldn't let us because we would get butt hurt and all that. Supposedly he was whinging about certain things. So that started getting to us. Like, he's a little diva, you know what I mean? Like, so that's sort of where we started like, nah, you know, stuff him, you know. So that's where it sort of grew that animosity.
So you go into that fight though, and you know you're dominating the fight, fully controlling everything on the feet, and then in a split second, he just jumps on that. It was a rear neck choke that he jumped on first. Guillotine. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I guess walk us through the whole sequence of events, because you know he jumps on it quickly, and you immediately think a guy with as good as jiu-jitsu as him, this could be over.
Yeah.
But then obviously your head's going purple, and you're just going not tapping.
It's well, that's when it comes down to the preparation. I'm telling you again. I was in them guillotines all camp, so like it's funny though I say that because I do late stage submissions, so I'll get people to put me in submissions, but a lot of people put themselves in submissions, but they're half defending already. I'm like, no, I want it late stage. Like, if I don't address it, I'm going to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it is. So I get them, like, right in. And I was telling them, sometimes I'll get there, and I'm like, nah, like the deeper. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't have a neck, so you got to do more than that. You know what I mean? So they were, like, trying to put me in these positions. And I'm telling you, like, I was even letting them put me in positions. No one got me anywhere near as tight as guillotine as Ortega did. He found the perfect position. His mechanically how his body worked, to even have his legs wrapped around me, my arms trapped, and have his hips connected to me, which is the perfect technique to really, when you got the guillotine, really come in and get your hip in.
Makes me sick thinking about it because I'm watching it going, no.
Yeah, so his hips were in. Like, that's easy. That's easy enough to do, but not when your legs are around. So you got to be pretty flexible, and you got to be in that position. You got to know that position. Yeah. And for him to even jump on it, I remember doing it. I was about to bounce up, and the next minute I'm like, I didn't even know where I was.
Yeah, wow.
I remember like I got down because I wasn't hurt. I was going to get up, and then like he's covered me up with something. I'm like, and then I can't breathe. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm in a guillotine. Like, how the fuck did this happen?
Oh man,
you know, that's how quickly it happened.
Yeah.
And I was there, and then obviously I was trying to defend, and it was deep. The lights were dimming. I couldn't hear a thing. It went from chaos to started going very silent, and the lights started dimming, and I'm like, oh no, this can't. No, there's no way. There's no way they're taking this belt away from me and my family. There's no way. So I was like, keep going. Like, it was like, I remember thinking that and be like, it was never like, oh, I'm gonna have to tap. It was like, even though what I was doing at the start, like pushing on the hips, doing everything that I thought was right, it still wasn't working. But I'm just like, I'm gonna have to keep going. Like, either I'd go to sleep, or he gives up or tires. And
was that the hope that he would tire?
Yeah, well, I guess so. It was maybe I didn't think of that. It was just me tapping was never option. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So whoever actually thought of, he might tire, I probably didn't think that.
I'm going to fight to the end.
Well, I'm going to keep pulling harder and harder until I get out. Like, you know, that's the problem solver, right?
Yeah.
Me dealing with that problem, like, was never tapping. Like, I wouldn't get choked out. But I mean, that was never an option for me. You know, the problem was getting out of that, so I just kept doing what wasn't even working. So it wasn't working.
Yeah.
But that's all I could do. And then, lucky enough, his arm started tiring.
Yeah.
So again, that's when the lights started coming back, and then I started hearing sound again.
No way.
And then I'm like, obviously, once that happened, I've told myself this is where I feel like this really gets deep into the mindset and mentality, or like for me, and I guess it explains who I am, because I talk about this submission as, if people want to know what makes me a champion, what makes me who I am, watch that guillotine, and that'll show you why I'm pretty good at what I do, because that explains a fair bit.
Absolutely.
And there's this gets there where as soon as everything started coming back, remember, I'm still struggling to breathe. I'm still,
Still has you.
very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still getting choked.
Yeah.
But everything's coming together. So I knew that he's tiring and I'm getting out. So the fact that he was tiring, I'm already telling myself before I was even out, I was like, going, he's gassing. Get up and let's put it on him. Like, you know what I mean? I'm still in the
Ready to fight.
I'm still in the guillotine.
Yeah.
So I remember thinking that, and then like you just see me fighting up, scrambling. He's going for other stuff. I pull his leg. I get on top. I'm like, let's just go.
Absolutely. Yeah,
and then just started going nuts. So I guess it just shows you, So my look at my thought process during that crazy
Adversity.
moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where a lot of people were like, oh, I tried. That I was trying and it wasn't working.
Was even
They're
levels,
like, I tried it. Oh, well, it's not working.
there's even like levels to it. Like, you've got not choosing to tap. Then you've got getting out of it. Most people are like, oh, thank God I'm out of it. Then there's getting out of it and then going on the attack. You know what I mean? The mindset to go immediately from, instead of being relieved and trying to get my bearings and taking a step
100%.
back, getting out of his range, you just went, nah, I'm going straight for it. And you're right. That's the
Because
deeper
you've got to
level
remember,
of
this is
mentality.
Guillotine's. This is Ortega's move too, right?
100%.
So being put in that position, there's a lot of people might give up because, oh no, he got me.
Yeah.
Oh no, you know what I mean? It's like, that was an option. Oh, I got to do this. Oh shit, what I think should work isn't working. Oh well, I tried.
Yeah.
Either tap or I'll just go to sleep.
Just go to sleep.
I was like, I'll just keep trying. And then it moves on to what you're saying. So there was a whole heap of levels there.
And so the next one though, it wasn't as tight. The next was
The triangle was still deep.
but it looked like you were not comfortable.
Technically, he had a perfect position. He had the angle. He even had grabbed the leg. But when it comes to tightness and it was nowhere near the guillotine.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe it would have been safe if I didn't have the guillotine before that.
You would have been like, oh,
Maybe I would have been like, oh man, this is tight. This is hurting. But I mean, maybe that was that bad that this was just a walk in the park.
It's your rugby league thick neck,
Yeah,
Russ.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's the
having
league
no neck
neck.
helps. But we won't tell anyone that. That's what other people are doing, submission defense.
Right.
How it's funny because Craig Jones does submission defense or guillotine defense, chokehold defense, and he goes, how Alex got out of Ortega and all that. He's like, he doesn't mention that. I just don't have it. Obviously, there's a lot of technique in there as well. But I mean, a lot of that was he did this, but it was just certain things I was just doing to make space.
Okay.
And he wanted to get to certain pieces. I was just stopping him from being able to fully finish that technique, and that made it enough until he wanted to get back on top, and I just used that to get up.
Oh man, and that was
And wanted
brutal.
to put it on him.
Then it was brutal after
Again, I was
that.
like, how dare you put me in that?
Oh man, honestly, far out. So obviously, then the Max Holloway situation happens. I guess going forward for you personally, you've achieved so much. You're clearly still extremely motivated. What is the plan going forward? I'm sure you have, I guess, long-term-ish plans. What's the plan for you going forward?
Well, then I obviously did the Islam fight after that. So again, right, for me, it's legacy. I never used to talk about legacy too much, but now it's, I want a legacy that my family can live off forever, right? I do want my name in history books. I do want, my name to be talked about. That does excite me. That does, that does sound cool. So now I'm looking for these challenges that are going to put me and separate me from the rest. That's why I wanted that fight. A lot of people thought I was mad. We talked about it before. A lot of people thought I was mad for doing it, but these are the things I want. You know what I mean? So I want challenges. Obviously, the next one's probably going to be which is a challenge in itself, but
very different.
I still want that. I still want that lightweight title. I've got to obviously worry about what's in front of me, but I still want that lightweight title. You know what I mean? And I hope there's plenty of because I love that. I want all these exciting fights that are definitely going to be good for the legacy. So that's why that fight with Max had to happen as well. I needed to do that. I could have avoided it and did something else, but for people to really start taking me really serious, if they haven't already, that needed to be done.
Yeah.
For my legacy, I didn't want people to always be like, oh yeah, but
yeah.
So now, let's be real, right? Before the Max Holloway fight to now, you ain't seeing
nothing.
Anyone mention anything to do with that anymore.
100%.
That's complete kaput.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I wanted because I know I could do that and I didn't want that little stain in the legacy or whatever it is. Something, I just didn't want that little hiccup, something for people to do. I felt like it could still maybe tarnish that legacy. So I was like, it had to be done. It'll put me in so much more of a better position moving forward. I need to do it. That's why I did that. Same as with the Islam. I knew fighting Islam people are like, yeah, this is how everyone's going to look at it. It's fair. What if things go wrong? You know what I mean? Which is fair to think like that. Because, you know, you're taking on a big fight, blah, 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 but what if it goes right? What if I do get that?
100%.
Look at the moment here in Australia in front of me.
man.
You know what I mean? And we thought we had it.
Oh, I thought
we
you
did
had it too.
I'm ready to get my hand raised.
I thought you had it.
Anyway,
We won't go into that. We won't go into
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I thought you had it, mate.
it was a close fight. Like, obviously, I'm not not going to be that dirty on it. It hurts
Yeah.
because you know, I watch back and I'm like, man, 2, 3, 5. I'm like,
Yeah.
anyway.
I
But
think it's
a lot
like-
of people did think that, but at the same time, you know, them, like, especially that second round was close, so you could see. But anyway,
I think it's for a lot of fans. It's how you look at scoring. Like
yeah.
active.
Like, who won the fight, right?
Yeah.
If someone says, like, you know, who won the fight?
Everyone knows who won the fight. But the scoring of it, it's like.
Unfortunately, it's not how the scoring goes.
I know.
So we can't really do that. But I mean, at the same time, you know, anyway, I still thought that when you go by the system, the rounds, right, 2, 3, and 5, you know, I think you only need the 3 rounds, and I felt like we did that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I agree, mate. Now, outside of, I was going to say outside of footy, outside of MMA, you got like a cooking show. Who's the like the coolest person that you've met where you've gone, wow? Because like you're just a kid from bloody the Illawarra region.
oh, mate, like, you meet like all of them because everyone's cool in their own ways, right? Like meeting up with Bam Bam was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, Action Brunson.
Oh, I thought you were saying Bam Bam is Bam Bam, two of us.
I know Bam Bam well, so but I mean, like, yeah,
I was like, damn, you
don't
were
need,
an
I don't
Australian.
need no cooking content to know he's all good.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah, obviously he's the man. But
Action Brunson.
yeah, Action Brunson.
Yeah.
Sorry. So doing it with him was cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was mad because he's a cool dude and like he's chill as. So like that was cool. Like he actually just sent me some of his shoes. So shout out to him. He's got a collab I think at the moment. So quick shout out to him. But yeah, so he was cool. All of them, man. Like you do
Yeah.
a few. You know what I mean? Like I got. Even Jamal was cool, you know, Jamal Murray and yeah, all of them,
Who
man. They're all
buzzed you
cool.
out? Like like when you sit back and like I don't know some
Meeting people.
not even meeting like watching
Meeting,
someone in the front row watching your.
I mean,
fight.
one thing is the craziest thing is, you know, he's going to be Zuckerberg, you know, meeting Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh yeah, you did things.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's
so we
crazy,
did
bro.
the thing. Like, so that's so we went to Meta HQ and
Yeah.
that's crazy. Cause,
When you
know what I
found
mean?
out that he
It's
wanted to
Mark
meet you,
Zuckerberg.
what were you saying? Were you like, what? The Zuck wants to meet me?
Yeah, well, look, it's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? It's yeah, she was yeah. So it was cool, man. It was yeah. I really enjoyed that. So we did that that piece of that content that we did, and yeah, it's cool, dude. And he loves his UFC.
Yeah, okay.
He loves it. So that surprised me the most. Just knowing how much he knew about it.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
And the cooking show, is that something that, you know, long down the line when you decide to give up, that you like have a genuine passion for and would want to go
Yeah,
forward?
like I think I like the route of I've been doing it lately with the Balkan with Volk.
Okay,
So I was
Balkan
like,
with Volk.
you got cooking with Vulcan. Obviously, I love cooking and I'll do my adventures, go fishing, catch fish, cook it up. And I want to do all that because I love it and I do that anyway. May as well have a camera there. And people love it. People love the cooking content, but I'm loving going out there and trying all different foods and different chefs and things like different parts of the world. Like that's definitely something that where we want to take it. And everyone loves it, man. Like the
It's
sponsors
incredible.
love it. You
Yeah.
name it, everyone. Like
Great
it's
content.
supposedly every MMA fan loves eating and loves cooking anyway. So because it's a hit, man. It is.
It's
and
cool.
I love doing the content and be able to live my life because I'm doing things that I'll do anyway. Get to film it and then do cool things with cool people while I'm doing it. So you can't argue with that. So it's definitely something that I want to do. I don't mind being behind a mic as well, chatting.
Mate, you love it.
good.
You love
I
it. It's 5 years
Usually
down
just
the
don't
track.
shut up. You know what I mean? Your podcast's probably usually half the time, but I just keep yapping.
Mate, it's content, baby, content. And I'll ask you this finally. When you reached the tippy top and you were the pound for pound #1 fighter in the world, so essentially the most dangerous man on the planet, what would have you said to yourself at 25 years old? You're struggling for cash. Your missus is having a kid. What do you reckon you would have said to yourself?
So if I could say back to it there, like,
Yeah.
now that I know where we're at, don't say anything.
Just keep
Don't
going.
say anything. Don't, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Don't change the future?
don't change a thing. You know what I mean? Like, again, like, you know, my life's ain't not perfect, but I mean, you can make things worse by thinking you'll fix it and make it completely worse for yourself. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There's a reason, like, people talk about my mentality and my mindset. There's my whole life experiences, the way I was brought up. You know, there's every little experience I have during as a kid or in sports or whatever. That has all made me build me to this guy. You know, I don't want to change that. I don't want to change the mindset I have, you know, that mentality by, you know, telling you, everything's going to be okay. It's like, all right, I'm going to do nothing now because I know it's going to be okay. Yeah. Obviously, I wouldn't do that because that's not who I am. But you get what I mean? I just don't feel like I would change everything. I'm very comfortable with where my head's at and where I'm at the moment. So for now, I'll say I wouldn't change.
Wouldn't say anything.
I wouldn't say that.
You just let yourself walk by. You just walk by.
Yeah.
You know what? I reckon you would have...
I probably would have changed his fashion back then.
I would. You know what I would have said?
That's what I'll do. Changes like, hey, mate, hey.
I would have said...
That looks terrible.
Go bold Volk earlier. Could have said that. Because there's power in the bold Volk.
Was that a shot of my receding hand?
No, sir. No, kind sir. No. And
you know what? That's something that it wasn't, obviously, because I even say that a lot of people are like, would you get your hair back? I go, I wouldn't. It's not only it's my look now, but you know, I told you I grew so much in that trilogy.
Yeah.
So I ended up halfway through that trilogy, right? I went bald, bald Volk. So bald Volk come up with a whole new like attitude, like not attitude, but that process of when I decided it was time to shave my head.
Yeah.
I was, you know, having to deal with that stuff I was saying. I started like really dealing with that, and I started getting a lot more confident, a lot more comfortable with who I was, and all that type of stuff. So when I went bald, there was a whole new aura about me, a whole new. Is that the right word, aura? There was a whole new
for sure.
Something about me, and it come with that, and it was like, you know, that was it. So like I could say, go bald earlier, but it wouldn't work because that went with that experience, that time. The timing of me going bald was bang. It was like, you know, you got Goku going Super Saiyan. Yeah. You got Volk going fucking bold. You know what I mean? And that's where he went next level.
And this is just a personal question for me. Who do you reckon wins Origin, New South Wales or Queensland?
Yeah, come on, the Blues.
Oh,
mate.
give
come
me a
on,
break,
mate.
bro. You're going to get touched up again, bros.
All these pretty blue colours over here. That's
give me a break. Queensland. We'll do yours again. Mate,
I don't know. I was over there. I was there.
Yeah. I remember seeing you at the hotel.
Actually before.
Game 3,
you're right.
when Ben Hunt took that kick and broke your heart.
Yeah, he did break my heart. At least he's plays for the Dragons. That's my team.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
There you go. So it's all right. But I mean, obviously, he could score tries any other day, not just not against the Blues.
Mate, thank you so much for jumping on. Thanks to Sportsbet for hosting this. We really, really appreciate it. And we've actually got some caricatures that were drawn whilst we were talking. And I think...
Oh, wait. Look, here we go. There it is.
Which one do you reckon we want to see first, Volks or you?
We've got to go to the beak first.
Okay, go to the beak first. What do you reckon?
Oh, there we go. Got the bloke in the bar right there.
Wow.
Damn, that's a beak.
That is a beak. I reckon you've undersized it, I think. And then we've got...
Where are we? Oh, we've got both of us?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Oh, there's a chin. Yeah, he's got a solid chin on him.
And then
he's got a solid chin on him. Look at that. I thought that, like you said, I thought that would be
nearly touching.
Yeah.
Nearly touching.
All right.
And then we got...
There it is. Look at that.
There he is.
How good. Bald Volk.
Whilst talking.
Bald Volk. What's that? Is that me clenching a fist?
Yeah, I'm so angry, bro. You said you were a chill dude.
I'm a chill dude, you know what I mean? Except for... There we go.
Thanks to Sportsbet. Thanks,
Appreciate
everyone.
that. Thank you. It's good, mate. That's unreal.
That's geese.
How about this? Wait, you ready?
Wait.
Can you see it?
Actually...
Is that the look? That's the look, eh? There we go.
Mate.
All right.
Thanks, brother.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.